forcefully, impeach him as a Senate president is a thing that everybody condemned.
It's a step in the right direction, and which is something the DSS man has been taking a lot of decisions that people have been wondering if the president was behind it. So he made, by the sacking of the DSS DG, they've now shown that most of things have been happening. The man has been acting on his own. Mamman Daura, Lawa Daura, he has been acting on his own. And it was very imperative that the sacking took place so that the budget consideration should go on. And it is a way of appeasing the lawmakers so that they can come to the table.
Create this national democracy by force at all costs. As you can see now, the reaction toward the siege in the National Assembly is that it's like there's some cabals around the presidency who are trying to retard the progress of this nation at all costs. So my suggestion is that the foreign governments must try their best to make sure that they put the necessary security architecture in order to avoid series of wranglings here and there. Because if not, it can portend great danger for our democracy. What I'm talking about, the issue of this relinquishing of the current DSS DG is a good omen for this nation. Because this very man has been there trying to, create kind of confusion between the presidency and the normal governance, which is a very big case in this country now.
The sack of that man is a welcome development because what happened yesterday in the National Assembly is undemocratic. In this era, in this generation, that we are practicing democracy and things still happen like that as if we are in the military era. I think we should continue to sack some of them that are doing such things. If we know that he is not performing very well, is going astray, we have to correct that impression so that we know that we are in a democratic dispensation, not the military era. You understand? So you can't tell me that we don't have a freedom of speech in a democratic dispensation. When you talk, you are in trouble. So we continue living like that. When we see things that are not going right, we should not talk. We just sit down and watch. Is it because we youth are quiet in this country, that's why they are doing to us like this? We are supposed to have more things in this country. If you look at Nigerian of yesterday, Nigerian of today is totally different.
For Malik Azim, the drama is connected to the ongoing reforms of President Muhammadu Buhari. He believes that those affected by the reforms are behind the drama.
The same DGSSS wrote against a nominee of his principal, Ibrahim Magu, to the National Assembly 2 times, saying Ibrahim Magu is not fit to be the head of the National Assembly, of the Economic Crime Commission. Today, Ibrahim Magu is still there and is out of the office. However, we want the security agencies to be reformed and to be overhauled so that they will do of more intelligent gathering, action, and effective as we see all over the world. The security is the welfare, and the welfare of the citizen is the paramount function of the government, which we want the government to do. Nigeria is undergoing a reform, is undergoing a revolution under President Muhammadu Buhari, and no one can drag this reform back. This revolution must continue, and we must go through this revolution to take us to the promised land.
These Nigerians expect more drama as the season of political campaigns and horse trading approaches.
Off to Zimbabwe, senior member of the opposition MDC alliance, Tendai BT, has been arrested at the border with Zambia. Police accused BT of inciting violence following last month's election. This will make it the first since long-term ruler Robert Mugabe was ousted. 6 people were killed after the military intervened to curb protests in the capital, Harare. The MDC alliance alleges the presidential poll was rigged, but the Electoral Commission disputes this and says that incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who took over from Mugabe, won the election. Saudi Arabia barred all citizens from receiving medical treatment in Canada as a diplomatic dispute over criticism of its human rights record intensifies. Riyadh also announces coordinating the transfer of all Saudi patients from Canadian hospitals to other medical facilities outside Canada. Saudi Arabia expelled Canada's ambassador, recalled its own envoy, and cut trade ties with Canada after it publicly denounced the crackdown on rights activists in the Gulf Kingdom on Twitter. In the UK, Boris Johnson should be kicked out of the Conservative Party for his remarks about the burqa, a Muslim peer says. Conservative Muslim Forum founder Lord Sheikh said demands from the Prime Minister for an apology were not enough. He has called for Johnson to have the whip removed, meaning the MP would no longer represent the Tory party. Johnson said Muslim women wearing burqas looked like letterboxes and compared them to bank robbers. A source said he stood by the comments. Conservative Peer Baronese Warsi, the first Muslim woman to sit in the British cabinet, said comments like Johnson's could lead to a rise in hate crime in the UK. More women candidates than ever will contest for governorship and House seats in November midterm elections. After Tuesday's primaries across 4 states, there are now 11 female nominees for governor and at least 173 so far for the House. The results were hailed as a continuing success story by activists for women in politics. There was also a key election for a House seat in Ohio in which President Donald Trump claimed victory. But U.S. media said the race was still too close to call in a safe Republican seat held by them since 1983. The outcome could indicate whether Democrats have a chance to overturn the Republican majority in the House in November. A hotly contested race in Ohio for U.S. House Representative seat that has gone Republican for more than 30 years remained too close to call on Wednesday, in an encouraging sign for Democrats heading into the November 6 elections. Republican Troy Bettleton led Democrat Daniel Connor by about 1,700 votes, with all precincts reporting, although the Ohio Secretary of State office said the final results would be delayed until more than 8,000 provisional and absentee ballots were counted. Even if Bettleton is eventually declared the winner, the narrow margin is little comfort for Republicans as they anxiously head to the November elections. It is certain to add in Democrats who performed dramatically better than expected. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has held talks in Tehran with North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho in a show of deference as the United States reimposed economic sanctions on the Islamic Republic. The meeting between the two top diplomats from countries both under American sanctions coincided with the return of sanctions, which U.S. President Donald Trump has described as the most biting ever. In a social media post, Zarif wrote that the world is sick and tired of U.S. unilateralism, adding that the world won't follow impulsive tweeted diktats. Ivanka Trump has been inundated with an appeal from celebrities on Instagram begging her to take action on the separation of migrant families at the border. It comes after U.S. officials separated more than 2,500 women from undocumented adults at the border with Mexico earlier this year in a zero-tolerance crackdown on illegal migration. The policy was suspended by Trump's father, President Donald Trump, last month after a fierce backlash. However, hundreds of children remain separated from their parents, the focus of the post. You're on to PTV's World X. It's time for a quick break. More stories when we return.
Soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislators.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
There had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
You're welcome back. And now in Australia, Australia's most populous state, New South Wales, is now entirely in drought. A dry winter has intensified what has been called the worst drought in living memory in parts of eastern Australia. NSW produces about a quarter of Australia's agricultural output. It was officially listed as 100% in drought on Wednesday. The state and federal governments have provided 576 million Australian dollars in emergency relief funding. Farmers have told harrowing stories of failing crops, severe water shortages, and being unable to feed livestock. Some have spent up to 10,000 Australian dollars per truckload of hay just to feed their animals, according to Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has been charged with 3 counts of money laundering linked to a multi-million-dollar corruption scandal. He is accused of having received 42 million ringgit, about $10 million, from state fund found in his personal bank account. Najib was arrested in July and has already been charged with breach of trust and abusing his position. He has always denied any guilt and had been cleared by Malaysian authorities while in power. Najib, members of his family and several allies are accused of embezzling huge sums allegedly used to buy everything from artwork to high-end real estate around the globe. The allegations played a central role in his defeat to a reformist alliance led by 92-year-old political veteran Mahathir Mohamad. The number of people killed by suspected poisoned food after a wake in the Ayacucho region of southern Peru has risen to 10. The health minister said she suspected the food had come in contact with insecticide. Local hospitals said 21 people were in serious condition. About 50 people attended the wake of a local man where a meat stew believed to be source of intoxication was served. Specialists who have traveled to the affected district of San Jose said they would need to carry out further tests to be sure. And after Myanmar, United Nations and agencies called on Myanmar Wednesday to improve conditions in Rakhine State for the safe return of hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees from Bangladesh and provide a clear pathway to citizenship for those eligible. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees and UN Development Programme said in a joint statement that they needed full access to Rakhine State. They were also waiting permission for international staff to be based in the town of Mungadao following requests made on June 14th. In Afghanistan, at least 8 civilians, including children, were killed in the northern Baghlan province on Wednesday after a vehicle hit a roadside bomb. At least 6 others were injured in the incident, which happened in Shawgar district. The victims were traveling from a village to the district center when the vehicle hit a roadside bomb on Wednesday morning. A UN report released in mid-July revealed the improvised explosive device remained the leading cause of civilian casualties in Afghanistan's conflict, accounting for 45% of cases. Regional Health Director John Tinku said many of those who attended the wake began falling ill within hours. China appears to be backpedaling on its decade-long policies to limit population growth as an attempt to address a democratic time bomb. The one-time policy ran until 2015 when it was partially relaxed to allow some couples have 2 children, but families have been slow to embrace official approval to expand. The recent piece in a state-run newspaper titled "Giving Birth is a Family Matter and a National Issue Too" is the latest to encourage couples to have more children and call for official action to enable young people to start families. The full-page column was published in overseas edition of the People's Daily, mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party. It warned that the impact of low birth rates on the economy and society has begun to show. The CEO of Twitter says it will not ban Infos or its founders, Alex Jones, because their accounts do not violate the social media platform rules. A number of tech giants, including YouTube and Facebook, deleted the right-wing conspiracy theorist content this week, citing hate speech. Jones has accused the platforms of unfair censorship of his accounts. The radio host is best known for spreading unsubstantiated allegations about tragic events, including 9/11. He is currently being sued for defamation by the parents of 2 children killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, which he had repeatedly claimed was a giant hoax. 20 children under the age of 7 and 6 adults died in the attack. You are on to PTV's World Desk. It's time for a short break. More stories thereafter. To stay. You're welcome back. New court documents have revealed that Angelina Jolie is claiming in court that Brad Pitt is not pulling his weight when it comes to child support for their 6 children. The document obtained by popular American TV network quotes Jolie attorney Samantha Barely DeJean saying, as of present, Pitt has put no meaningful child support since separation. DeJean goes on to state that Jolie would like the court to have Pitt pay her the money she's owed. The couple separated in September 2016 after 2 years of marriage and filed for divorce shortly after. And on economy, a group of suspected Nigerian pirates are believed to be part of a kidnapping syndicate operating in the Gulf of Guinea. The pirates are accused of kidnapping 35 seafarers from cargo vessels in the area. This was disclosed by EOS Risk Group, a global security firm, in its half-year review of Nigerian piracy activities in the Gulf of Guinea. According to the report, Nigeria ranks as the world's major route for piracy activities. The report also stated that major piracy groups exist in creeks around Yenagoa in Bayelsa State and Abonema in Rivers State. Vessels attacked include merchant and fishing vessels, with petro-piracy in the area reappearing on the Global Piracy Watch radar. On Brexit debate, the pound fell below $1.29 for the first time in almost a year on continuing worries Britain would leave the EU without a trade deal. Sterling also hit a 9-month low against the euro and was down against the yen and Swiss franc. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney had said chances of a no-deal Brexit were uncomfortably high. On Sunday, International Trade Secretary Liam Fox put the odds as certainly not much more than 60-40. The falls come despite a rise in UK interest rates, which usually pushes up the value of sterling since the beginning of the month. The pound is falling 1.7% against the dollar and 0.8% against the euro. In football, Wolves have signed Spanish winger Adama Traoré for a club record fee after meeting the £18 million release clause in his Middlesbrough contract. The 20-year-old has signed a 5-year contract at Molineux. Traoré is Wolves' 5th new signing of the summer, following the arrivals of Rui Patricio, Johnny Castro, Joe Moutinho and Raul Jimenez. Wolves began the first top-flight campaign against 2011-2012 by hosting Everton on Saturday. Their previous record signing was Portugal midfielder Ruben Neves, who joined from Porto for about £16 million last year. Touré left Barcelona for Aston Villa in 2015 before joining Borough on a 4-year deal the following summer. In tennis, British number 1 Johanna Conte came from behind to beat 11th seed Jelena in the first round of the Rogers Cup in Montreal. Conte, ranked 43rd in the world after starting the year in 9th, prevailed 6-7, 6-1, 6-2. She was pegged back from his 3-0 lead in the opening set and lost the tiebreak 8-6 to the 2017 French Open champion. But the unseeded 27-year-old dropped only 3 more games as she took the next 2 sets in 62 minutes. Conte will face Victoria Hazenik in the second round after the 2-time Grand Slam winner beat France's Kristina 6-0, 6-1. Also true is Maria Sharapova, who beat fellow Russian Daria Kostenko in straight sets. Novak Djokovic began his bid for a 5th Rogers Cup crown with a straight set victory over Bosnia's Basic. Djokovic, a Wimbledon champion, won 6-3, 7-6, 7-3 against Basic, who was a late replacement for injured South Korean Sung Hyun. 13-time Grand Slam champion will face Canada's Peter in the second round. Elsewhere, wildcard Stan will beat the 16th seed Nick in a 1-6, 7-5, 7-5, and Kay lost to Robin Hayes. On a sad note, Kenya's former 400-meter hurdles world champion Nicholas Beth had died aged 28 following a car crash on Wednesday. Beth had just returned from the Africa Champions in Nigeria when he died in Nandi, northwest Kenya. In 2015, he made history in China by becoming the first Kenyan to win a world gold at a distance shorter than 800 meters. He was a 2-time African bronze medalist, and his twin brother, Haron Koi, is also a hurdler. Athletics Kenya confirmed Beth's death on Twitter, while Kenyan Sports Minister Rashid tweeted his condolences to the Beth family. And that's all on PTV World Desk today. Many thanks for watching. I am Aisha Jibrin.
Language is a tool of human communication, either spoken or written. It can be defined as the use of symbols and words in a structural and conventional way. Language is also a mark of diversity in a country, as it is a medium of communication understood by people of a particular region. Since the creation of man, language has been an integral part of man. It has been passed from generation to generation, and this has brought about interrelation among people of different regions as well. The importance of language is essential to every aspect and interaction of our everyday life. Hence, language is used to inform, express what we feel, and also ask questions. In essence, it helps us to understand the world around us. The relevance of language cannot be overemphasized, as they contribute to the fostering of peace in the country, as it promotes proper and effective interaction, especially with people of a shared background.